Well, let's go ahead and talk about it. I'm going to tell you up front from the beginning that I am actually taping this podcast on October the 17th, and I am going to dedicate this podcast to Mr. George Carrington Jr. May you rest in peace. This is a friend of mine that passed last Thursday that I have known for about 28 years, and we have dibbled and dabbed and been in the entertainment industry. He's one of those kind of guys that when he call you and say, hey, I need your social security number, I'm working on a few things, you don't even question it because everything he does is just grand. So I think he knows my social better than I know my own social security card. But at the end of the day, rest in peace, Mr. Carrington. I am headed out of here to go to Louisville, Kentucky. That's where he is going to be laid to rest. So I am grateful to be able to do my part and be there to love on the family and to support the family in this time of need. So for those of you that are a survivor, when we are grieving, this is another part of the trauma. Trauma is grieving. There's all types of grieving. So not only am I grieving as a survivor, I am now grieving as losing a dear, dear friend. But I made a commitment to you and to myself to put out 20 podcasts. So thank you for tuning in. This one will be released on October the 20th, 7 p.m. Please subscribe to the podcast, Why Not Me, Shey Johnson, as well as check out the YouTube. I'm going to do a YouTube right after this. It will be probably number 89. Why Not Me, Shey Johnson, October 1. But the episode that I'm going to be focusing on and talking about today is a call to action. And if you hear that beeping noise in the background, that is my fire alarm thing. So when I tell you it's still stuff going on, I don't even have anybody here to change my smoke alarm. So I'm still going through it. I'm still dealing with the day-to-day struggles. I went this morning to go see the chiropractor, and I tell you, he worked me so hard that I was crying. I actually cried off my eyelashes. I went to pick up my lashes off the table. I said, I have to glue these lashes back this evening. But anyway, the episode today is a call to action. A way for you to heal is to talk about what has happened to you, because no one really understands unless they were there. Now, they could have been there, and I'm specifically talking about the Las Vegas massive shooting that took place in Las Vegas on the Strip in front of the Mandalay Bay. That is a huge lot that they call the Village, that now they're going to turn it into some kind of sports center. So if you've been following me and you've been watching my Twitters, you know I'm not for all of that. I believe it needs to be a beautiful park, a beautiful memorial park. If you need to make money, charge for people to come in and sit at the park. Unless you are a survivor and you were issued maybe a credential, you can visit the Healing Garden for free, but maybe the tourists can come and they can pay $2. I don't know, but it really needs to be something similar to what 9/11 has done with the Twin Towers. So if you want to sell maps, you want to sell pictures of it, whatever you want to do, but it needs to be something that is reflecting everything that we have gone through and that we are continuing to go through, because this is not going to end. I'm just going to back up before I get into the call of action that I know you heard about. The MGM has released $800 million of their insurance money that's going to go to the survivors. Well, that's all I'm going to say on that. You can catch it on the YouTube. I'm going to leave that right here. Let's get into call to action. Episode number 17, a call to action. I'm sorry about leaving you hanging, but go to YouTube for information on that. A call to action. To me, it's about giving back and telling your story and hoping that something can be done. You matter. Your voice matter. Nobody knows what has happened to you or what happened unless you talk about it. People see bits and bits on the media. The media shows you what they want you to see for as a good story, like a cliffhanger. I have done maybe 20 media interviews, and I tell you, we talk for about 30 minutes or sometimes an hour. You only hear me say something for about 30 seconds. So you go, well, dang, we talked almost an hour. What part of the conversation are they going to show on the media? It's always the part that I don't think that they're going to show, they are going to show. So nobody knows what happened to you unless you talk about it. And this is also a way for you to heal, to just get it out. I am freaking hurting. So this is why I decided I'm going to do a podcast for me. Whether you listen or not, I'm getting it off of my chest because I want to do better. I want to feel better. It's about me, and it's about me sharing my story. Episode number 17 is a call to action. Let's give back. Now, since the shooting, I have spoken at UNLV Medicine Center. I have spoken at several different organizations. Well, maybe you're not that one that wants to go out and speak to people in public. That's fine and dandy too. Guess what you can do? Go to YouTube and learn how to do a podcast or do a YouTube online and share your story. Other people can learn and benefit and can heal from your story. So I'm hoping that by the time I complete the 20 podcasts, you have learned something. It has not all been glitz and glamour because I haven't felt like that. But I set a mission out to do 20 podcasts, and this is number 17, and I'm going to wrap it up. Moving on towards the next, whatever the next is. I don't want to be carrying so much of this into 2020. It's still going to be there, but there's life, and I want to be able to live. So I'm still going to see a therapist because I still need to be healed. And you need to be honest with yourself. A lot of times we cannot talk to our immediate people because they sit there and they look at you and then they judge you. And then they'll say, I didn't know you were thinking like that. Oh, I just can't believe you said that. But then they want to know how you are doing. And then when you tell them how you're doing, they either criticize. So then, guess what? We don't open and we don't share anymore. Either you're going to listen and be a good listener. We don't need you to comment back to us. We're just sharing how we feel. And you just digest it. We're not looking for a conversation. We can go to our therapist for a conversation. So, I'm still in therapy. I have joined Moms Demand Action. Male or female can join. So it's called Moms Demand Action. If you're on Facebook, you can find them. If you tweet, you can find them. If you're on Instagram, you can find them. Or you can do www. Moms Demand Action. They're the red shirts that says Mom Demand Action in white lettering. And every month there is some type of rally going on, primarily focusing on no gun violence. They're not saying we want to take your weapons. We don't want you to have a gun to protect yourself in your own home. What they are saying is that the military type guns, the AR-15, do not belong in the hands of abusers. Those that are injuring folks or want to cause harm to these innocent kids in school. You don't need military artillery, okay? It's like, really? So that's what they stand for. They do not have a problem with you having a regular gun in your home to protect yourself. They're specifically speaking about the military weapons that civilians are having in their home. And then you know that someone has some mental problems and you are still allowing them to purchase such type weapons. Another organization that I belong to is Women Against Gun Violence. You can also find them on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. So last and not very least is Everytown Survivor. So their logo was like blue with a couple of lines up underneath it. Everytown Survivor. So if you were wanting to give back, wanting to do something for call of action, one of the three I highly recommend. I am going to be a lead survivor. I don't want to say counselor. I don't want to say therapist. I'm going to say a peer person. So you can always reach out to Everytown Survivor and say you just want somebody to talk to, because you never know. You just might luck up and get me. So like I said, we're not therapists or anything. We're just here to conversate with you to find out how you're doing and what do you want to talk about. How do you feel from whatever trauma that has happened to you? A loss of a loved one, gun violence, domestic violence, maybe you were molested as a child, male or female. There's all different types of grief, as I mentioned before. So if you find that it's something that you want to do, I'm going to highly recommend you start with Everytown Survivor. Check out their website, check out them on Instagram, check them out on YouTube. I follow them, and a lot of times I'll see articles and I will tweet and I would add no gun violence, moms demand action, and Everytown to my tweet. So I appreciate you subscribing. Again, this podcast is dedicated to Mr. George Carrington Jr. May he rest in peace. I do not even know what happened to him, but I will tell you this. He was so health conscious that he didn't eat red meat. He didn't eat pork. He would constantly get on me about, Shey, you need to stop eating this red meat. You need to stop eating so much pork. But I tell you, he died at the age of 61. And all I thought about was, I am getting ready to go have me a fried pork chop. Because I don't understand it. I just believe that when it is your time, it is your time. So if you are listening to my voice and you are a survivor, when it's our time, it is going to be our time. This is episode number 17, a call to action. We need more volunteers. We need to hear your voice. I need you to speak up and speak out. Do you know that change only happens when somebody voice their opinion and get folks behind them? You know, you also need cheerleaders. But these two organizations, well, I mentioned three, but the two, Moms Demand Action and Everytown Survivor, there's thousands of people from every state, every city that's involved. So get involved, and it is a way for you to heal. A lot of times when you give back, it helps you. If nothing else, I know it makes you feel good. It makes me feel good when I know that I can put a smile on someone else's face. Next week, I do plan on having Christine Lopez, and I'm going to share with you the tomatoes. I may be pronouncing it incorrectly, but I will tell you it's called 4 brain. I still do the treatments. I have about 7 treatments left. You can look her up on Google her, Christine Lopez, and it's called the Brain Solutions. So if you have any questions for her, email me the questions so that I can make sure she gets them, and I'll make sure that over the podcast that we read your questions so everybody will know what your question is. I won't say who it's from. We will read your question, and then I will have her to address the actual question while we are taping the podcast. And then number 19 is self-care. Self-care is so important because we can just fall apart. We can fall apart, especially if you are single, or maybe you were married and now you're divorced. You know, trauma affects the household. Trauma affects your children. Maybe you were married when the shooting took place and so much has happened that now you are separated. But at the end of the day, self-care is very important. You've got to take care of yourself. For the first 4 months, I didn't take care of myself. I let myself go to the wayside, meaning that I did not care. I really did not care if I woke up the next day or not. I was unable to climb up my stairs, walk up my stairs, if you will, but I was bathing in the kitchen sink, and I would go weeks without even wanting to just wash up. I was just in a dark, dark, dark space. So I get it. I get it. And I'm just telling you to do a self-care. We're going to do a self-care checklist on, that should be like November the 3rd. And then the last episode, I am going to cover PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And that should be November the 10th, what will be my final episode. Feel free to still email me, because I'm not sure when you'll listen to the podcast. And rest assured, I will go back. Make sure you put in the subject line what the episode is so that I'll know what episode you're referring to, and I will do a bonus episode, and I will email you and let you know when it's going to come out, and I will address your questions if you have any questions. So please email me at Shey, Lishey Johnson @gmail.com. LisheyJohnson@gmail.com. I'm only going to do 20 because I want to be able to respond, and I don't want to be overwhelmed and not being able to address your concerns, your issues. I want to be able to respond to you. So remember, I do have t-shirts available for $20. I have hats available for $15, and I am working on my book. My book is going to hit for $29.95, but if you have been listening to the podcast, you'll be able to put in either one of the episode numbers and to be able to get a discount for the book for $25. So thank you so much again for tuning in. Go ahead and check out the YouTube, Why Not Me, October 1, Shey Johnson. I am going to do a YouTube right now, which is October the 17th. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to speaking to you again around about November the 3rd. So continue to do your breathing exercises. Whenever you feel triggered, whenever you feel like tension going on, you're having an anxiety attack, if you will, get your essential oils and just take a couple of deep breaths in and out. Remember, I am not a therapist. I am not a psychiatrist. I am just sharing with you my personal testimonies, if you will, exactly of what I have been going through, because I want you to know that you are not alone, and to continue with your I am. I am what? Email me. Tell me what you came up with. Because remember, you will never be the same. So I am. What are you? Lovable. You're caring. You're a business owner. What are you? Could you just be so small? So small. I am a mother of 3 children. I am a grandmother. I am what? You have the biggest heart in the world? Okay, well, let's do something with that big heart of yours. Let's give back. This episode was a call to action, and a call to action is to do something about it. So let's share, let's communicate. I enjoy you with Chit Chat. I thank you so much for tuning in. God bless you and enjoy your week.